All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today we're looking at, a pretty hot topic in Brazilian football right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's the national team and how they've been struggling.
Yeah.
But also this really interesting possibility that Filipe Luís, the current Flamengo coach,
Right.
former star player, of course, might be the guy to step up to the challenge.
Wow, what a story that would be.
I know. We've got a bunch of articles here to help us dig into it.
Okay, great.
We've got GE, Coluna do Fla, ESPN Brazil, and even some interesting simulated quotes from some analysts.
Oh, that's always fun.
Let's see what we can find, huh?
Yeah, it's a captivating scenario, that's for sure.
Right.
I mean, the national team, they're underperforming.
Yeah.
And then you have this beloved figure like Filipe Luís, who's already building up a pretty solid reputation as a coach.
That's true.
And then, you have his club Flamengo, who might get caught in the crossfire of all this.
Exactly. And you mentioned his growing reputation as a coach.
Yeah.
That's actually what I'm really curious about.
Okay.
So Coluna do Fla is highlighting his impressive 70% win rate with Flamengo.
It is pretty impressive.
But I mean, is that just a honeymoon phase? Or is it something more?
Yeah.
I mean, he is still pretty new to, managing a team.
That is true, he is. But that's actually where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
That 70% win rate, it's not just about the results,
What do you mean?
It's about how he's getting them.
Okay.
Sources are suggesting that his actual tactical approach is what's really turning heads.
Wow. Okay.
He's brought like this really modern possession-based style to Flamengo.
Interesting.
It reminds me of Guardiola in some ways.
Hold on, wait. Are we comparing him to Guardiola already? That's a pretty high bar, right?
It is a high bar.
For someone who's so early in their coaching career, I mean,
That's true.
isn't that a bit premature?
Maybe. But I mean, it is a comparison that people are making in football circles, and for good reason, I think.
Okay.
There's a clear emphasis on him controlling the game through possession, building from the back. But he also injects this directness when the opportunity is there.
Oh, okay.
It's not just slow. It's not just methodical like Guardiola.
Right.
He's not afraid to go vertical quickly.
I see.
And that's what kind of sets him apart a little bit.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So he's taking inspiration from the best, but adding his own style to it.
Exactly.
That's ambitious.
It is.
Especially for someone who, according to ESPN Brazil, turned down the CBF's offer to be their technical coordinator earlier this year.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Chose to focus on coaching Flamengo instead. I mean, is that confidence or is it a bit of arrogance?
I mean, for someone so new to management, right.
Right.
Yeah, it was a bold move. There's no doubt about that.
For sure.
I think some people saw it as kind of a statement, prioritizing hands-on coaching over a more strategic behind-the-scenes role.
Yeah.
It definitely makes you think, is he laser-focused on eventually leading the national team?
It's interesting.
And saw this as the best path to get there.
It certainly feeds that narrative of destiny.
Yeah.
That he's the prodigal son and he's going to come back and lead the Seleção back to glory.
Yeah.
But GE actually mentions that he's still working on his A and PRO coaching licenses at the CBF Academy.
Oh, okay.
So it seems like, he's not trying to rush the process.
Right.
Even though he's ambitious.
And that, I think, is really crucial to understanding him.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. He's not just coasting on his reputation as a player.
That's true.
He's actively, honing his craft.
Right.
He understands that managing a club, and especially, forget a national team, right?
Yeah.
Demands a very different skill set. And he's putting in the work, even with, a club as demanding as Flamengo.
Yeah. Which leads to another layer of all this.
Yeah.
How does Flamengo feel about all of this?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're in a title race.
Right.
And their coach is being talked about as the potential savior of the national team.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. That's got to create a lot of tension.
Absolutely. I mean, you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
The Flamengo fan base, they're feeling all kinds of things.
No, yeah.
Pride, anxiety, maybe even a little bit of resentment.
Right.
It's a tough spot for them.
Yeah.
I mean, do they want to see their coach succeed on the national stage?
Right.
Even if it potentially means disrupting their own ambitions.
Yeah.
It's
almost like a Shakespearean drama or something.
Yeah, it is.
The national team needs him. Filipe Luís is ambitious. And Flamengo's stuck in the middle.
And the CBF's in a tough spot too, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I mean, do they try to poach him
Yeah.
and risk alienating Flamengo?
Right.
Or do they go and look for somebody else?
Right. Someone more seasoned,
Yeah.
but then maybe miss out on someone who could really revitalize Brazilian football.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a high-stakes decision.
Yeah.
No easy answers.
It's fascinating. This is already a fascinating deep dive, and we've only just started.
I know, right?
We've got the national team struggling, Filipe Luís and his impressive start at Flamengo, all the tactical nuances that we've been talking about,
Right.
and then the CBF's dilemma,
Yeah.
and what's going to happen with Flamengo.
Lots to unpack.
But before we go too far, I think we need to go back and actually really delve into the tactics.
Okay.
What's making Filipe Luís's approach at Flamengo so different?
Yeah. Good point.
What are the analysts saying?
Yeah. Let's dive deeper into that.
Let's see what's making people compare him to Guardiola,
Okay.
but also recognize how he's doing his own thing.
All right. Let's do it.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so let's try to break down like Filipe Luís's tactical, blueprint.
Right.
We talked about the Guardiola comparisons,
Yeah.
but I think when we really look closer, it's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, he believes in possession-based football like Guardiola, but it seems like he uses it in a different way.
So it's not just like tiki-taka.
No, not at all.
To do
It's
it.
not just keeping the ball for the sake of keeping the ball.
Right.
It seems like he really wants to use those quick, incisive passes
Okay.
to break the lines and create those chances,
So less about the slow buildup
Exactly.
and more about kind of exploiting spaces
Yeah.
with those sharp vertical movements.
Exactly. He's not afraid to go direct when he needs to.
Interesting. So it's almost like he's blending that traditional Brazilian flair
Yeah.
with more of a modern tactical discipline.
I think that's a good way to put it.
But is there anything concrete? Like, what are the actual tactical elements that he uses to set him apart?
Well, one thing, for example, is that, he seems to favor this 4-3-3 formation with Flamengo,
Okay.
but there's a lot of fluidity, between the lines.
Okay.
His wingers, they don't just hug the touchline.
Right.
They cut inside. They interchange positions with the striker, with the attacking midfielders.
So it creates confusion for the other team.
Exactly.
So it's like organized chaos.
Anyway, yeah.
But how does he keep things stable on defense?
Well, that's where the pressing comes in.
Okay.
He's really big on disciplined pressing.
Yeah.
So when Flamengo loses the ball,
Mm-hmm.
they immediately press. They want to win it back high up the pitch.
Right.
And then they can go on and attack again quickly.
Okay.
So it's this like high energy,
Right.
high pressing style, which again is very common in modern football.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to be working really well for him.
It's making sense now. He's taking those elements from those top managers like Guardiola, but he's also blending it with like his understanding of the game.
Exactly.
Right, from his experience as a player.
Yeah, his own unique style.
And creating something new and effective.
Exactly. And that's what's so interesting about this.
Yeah.
If he were to take over the national team, it wouldn't be like he's just copying someone else.
Right. Yeah.
It would be like a new tactical identity for Brazilian football.
Wow.
A system that's tailored to, their strengths and built for the modern game.
It's an exciting thought.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, Neymar,
Oh, yeah.
Vinicius Jr., all those attacking players
Mm-hmm.
playing in that fluid, dynamic system?
It'd be incredible to watch.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah, you're right.
There are still a lot of hurdles.
Lots of hurdles, yeah. Remember, we're talking hypotheticals here.
Right.
He hasn't said that he wants to leave Flamengo.
Yeah.
And the CBF hasn't, made any formal offers or anything. Right.
But there's a lot of speculation out there, and I think for good reason.
Of course.
Yeah.
And even if he were to become, the coach,
Right?
there's no guarantee that he would find immediate success.
Of course not. The pressure is immense,
It's Brazil.
especially in Brazil.
Everyone cares about football.
Everyone's a critic.
Yeah.
It's a tough job.
It is. It's a job that can make or break you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at all the, the coaches they've had in the past.
Yeah, they've gone through so many coaches.
Yeah.
It's a revolving door.
It is. And there's always this pressure to win, to deliver trophies.
Always. And Filipe Luís, he'd need to be, like, made of steel
You would.
to handle all that.
But, amidst all the uncertainty, all the potential problems,
Yeah.
there's this sense of excitement, right?
There is.
A glimmer of hope.
It feels like Brazilian football is at a crossroads.
It does.
And he represents a way forward.
Yeah.
A bridge between the past and the future. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
He's got this innovative approach. But he's connected to, the country's footballing heritage.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great story. It really is a narrative filled with possibility.
Yeah.
And ambition.
And the echoes of, the past glories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think, before we get carried away,
yeah,
we should remember the human element of all of this.
It's a good point.
Right.
It's not just tactics.
Yeah. What about Filipe Luís, the man?
Yeah.
What drives him?
Right.
What are his motivations?
Yeah. I think that's a really crucial question.
Yeah.
And it's a question that I think often gets lost in all the,
the noise.
Yeah, the speculation and all the tactical analysis.
The hype.
To understand his path, we need to understand him.
It's so easy to get caught up in all that stuff, right?
It is.
The tactics, the speculation.
All the what ifs.
But you're right. We need to look at him as a person.
Yeah.
Not just the coach.
And actually, his playing career, I think, gives us some clues.
Oh, okay.
He was known for his intelligence on the pitch.
Yeah, he was a smart player.
Very tactically disciplined.
Right.
Able to, read the game, adapt.
And it seems like those qualities, they're showing up in his coaching, too.
I think so, yeah.
So it's not a coincidence
No.
that his teams play with that tactical sophistication.
It's part of him.
Yeah.
It's like an extension of his own, footballing DNA.
That's a good way to put it.
And don't forget the other big thing about his playing days.
What's that?
His work ethic.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was relentless.
He was. He was never the most, naturally gifted.
Right. But he made up for it with just, sheer will.
Yeah.
Determination. And always wanting to get better.
Constant improvement.
And you see that in his coaching, too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's going for his licenses, right?
Yeah.
While he's managing a top club.
He's not just sitting back and, relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not complacent at all.
He wants more.
Yeah, he's trying to learn more, refine his skills.
Exactly.
I mean, that says a lot about him.
He does.
About his character, his ambition.
It makes you wonder.
What
if he does end up taking the national team job?
Yeah.
What kind of legacy, would he want to leave behind?
That's a good question.
Would it be about winning?
Trophies.
Yeah, at all costs.
Or is it something more?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to, I don't know, restore a sense of identity to Brazilian football.
That's interesting.
Blend the beautiful game with those modern tactics.
Well, yeah.
Inspire a new generation.
That's a great vision.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's clear that his story is far from over.
Oh, yeah. Just getting started.
He's at, this crucial point in his coaching journey.
A real crossroads.
And whatever he decides to do,
yeah,
it's going to have a huge impact.
For sure.
Not just on his career, but maybe on the future of Brazilian football.
And for all of you listening out there, here's something to think about.
Okay.
It's easy to get caught up in the national team speculation, right?
Of course, it's exciting.
But maybe the more important question is,
yeah,
what kind of coach does he want to be?
That is the question.
I think the answer to that will tell us everything.
It just might. That's it for this deep dive, everyone.
See you next time.